Off throughout the day, sometimes heavy in northwest, but it is getting very intense towards our west in Oklahoma and northwest Texas into the panhandles. We've got multiple tornado warnings south and east of Oklahoma City. This is near Seminole. We'll take a closer look at these in a moment. There was a tornado touching down just about 10 minutes ago. We'll analyze this storm again. We'll watch the one that's just a little bit south and east and more thunderstorms firing up across the plains back towards West Texas. But the yellow area shows you that tornado watch that's in effect. So we're going to talk about what's going on right now and where these storms are headed. When are they going to be arriving in Arkansas and Oklahoma? When is our severe chance? Now, every once in a while, we could get a quick pop-up storm, but I think the majority of it's going to be back towards the west. These storms are going to form a line eventually, a big old cluster, and then move right towards the state line coming in closer to midnight. And we're going to time those out. Now that we've got some storms finally firing up, we've got a better idea on their timing and what we can expect next. But I hope you've had a good Wednesday. Some of us have been pretty cloudy throughout the day. We've had a little bit more sun south in the River Valley, some peaks of sun in northwest. We've been struggling with our temperatures north of the mountains. And notice how these storms are mainly along and south of this warm front. You go north of the warm front, we've got some storms, but they're not quite as severe. We've had some warnings on these recently. The reason why I'm showing you these in northern Oklahoma is because we've got the same kind of cooler air in northern Oklahoma as we do in northwest Arkansas. So I think the highest severe threats will be more for the River Valley later tonight, but we're still going to get hit hard, I think, in northwest with some storms, but they may be just a tad more severe with wind speeds a little bit stronger towards the south once you head south of the mountains. But we're getting our live streams ready. We're going to be hopping on with all our platforms in just a second. You're joining us right now on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to add our app and our website in just a moment as we get our systems ready. But man, we got another active evening. We've got a weather alert tonight. We've got more storms possible tomorrow too. And then we should be looking a lot better as we wrap up the rest of the week. So it's going to be a pretty active next 24 hours, and then we're done. We get to take a break, and we've got sunshine coming back in, and we also have a lot of warmer air. In fact, guys, we're going to have some 90s, I think, on the way. Maybe this weekend, but probably definitely next week. So getting all these systems ready, I think we are good to get rolling. So we are watching this warm front. Anyone along or south of the warm front has the best chance of hail and tornadoes. Just the atmosphere is a little bit juicier back towards the south and west. Storms love that kind of stuff. Our warm front is just now coming into the River Valley, especially in LaFleur County and Scott County. This will slowly budge north the next couple of hours. Where it exactly ends up later tonight really impacts who gets the strongest thunderstorms. I think it'll be able to make it to the mountains. I'm not sure if we can go north of the mountains. So I think the best chance for the nasty things will be right in the River Valley. These storms coming in from the west. You see the northeast trajectory, but eventually some of these cells that are just starting to get going will also probably turn severe back to south of this line. But they'll come into the River Valley, northwest Arkansas. They could still be severe, but they'll likely start to weaken as they move in later this evening. Let's zoom in just a little bit closer for us. We're dry for the most part. We've had a couple sprinkles here and there, but back towards the west, we have kind of a training effect right now with some of these supercells. You see the hook on this storm too. Earlier, we were watching a tornado by helicopter. This was touching the ground just southwest of Seminole. This continues to head north and east towards Okemos, just along I-40 coming in. You can see just back towards Henrietta. This would be coming in towards your neck of the woods. And then also one right over I-35 coming south of Norman. We've got more of these tornado warnings. There's a circulation on this too. This is just look at the velocity the past 15 minutes or so. This thing is really wrapped up coming right into Seminole, and all that lightning too shows you some hail that's being dropped as well. This storm's a little bit weaker, but it still has a lot of rotation with it crossing I-35 right now. You can see a little bit, it's hard to tell, but there has been some debris in this storm as it's moved north and east. A little bit harder to tell any kind of debris with the storm back towards the west. But a lot of this green color shows you the hail. I mean, we've got huge hail. This is getting towards baseball-sized hail coming out. The reason why I'm showing you these is because these are the storms that are likely to come towards western Arkansas later tonight. They're going to slowly weaken, though, over time. Once they get closer to our state line, they should weaken as temperatures are a bit cooler for us. But these coming in about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Time them out just a little bit. McAllister, just before 11 o'clock. Fayetteville close to midnight or so. And these they speed up and slow down a little bit. So this is just a rough timing, but just coming after midnight, I think, in northwest Arkansas, just after about 1 o'clock, I think, for us in Fort Smith and Van Buren. But it's going to be a loud night tonight. They may not be as strong as they are at the moment, but they're still going to have a lot of lightning in them as they press west or as they press east. And As they press east, they're dropping a lot of water. We've already had a lot of rain today, especially north of the mountains. We've had a little bit less in the river valley, but trust me, we've had enough the past couple of weeks. But another few inches is on the way. That's why we've got a flood watch in effect everywhere you see that green color. But here are the storm threats tonight. Over the course of the day, this morning we just had the level 3, that enhanced risk. Now we've got that moderate risk with the red color, a level 4. Out of 5, so we're getting there towards the end of the scale with the best chance for severe weather, especially along and south of this warm front, right in this warmer air, more humid air back towards the south and west. More storms will continue to fire up this evening. They'll march eastbound, but as they cool off overnight tonight, arriving close to midnight, they're likely to weaken. We've got a level 3 severe risk coming into western Sequoia County, western Lafleur County, level 2 for Van Buren and Fort Smith. Greenwood, north into about parts of Washington County from Farmington out west towards Prairie Grove and Lincoln. We've got those threats. Siloam Springs are in that level 2. But the more just east you go, right deeper into the natural state, level 1, as these storms will likely weaken. I think right now, of course, they've got the hail threats and the tornado threats. But once they start running into each other, they're not usually as efficient as producing tornadoes. Can they? Yes. But what happens is when you start to form in a line, they start to just really gust out, and we've got a higher wind threat coming in tonight for us. Could there be a quick spin-up tornado? For sure. We'll watch those. But I think most of us are just going to get a lot of heavy rain and lightning as these storms will become leftover storms as they march eastbound. Hail, there could be some hail, smaller hail than the hail we're probably getting right now, but really gusty winds. And I'll be honest, we don't need a lot of gusty winds because the ground is so saturated. You can easily knock down some trees, even with lighter winds right now, because trees just don't hold very well in wet water. It's just the kind of trees we have. We don't quite have the trees down south and the tropics, right? Our trees really kind of like a mix of semi-dry, a little bit west, but right now they're soaked. Level 2 severe threat tomorrow. So what's going to happen is we've got storms coming in from the west right now. They'll likely come in right around midnight for us, and then for the early morning hours, we'll track them with you guys. But then tomorrow, that line will push out. We'll have some scattered storms tomorrow, but as the cold front, which was way back towards the west, the storms that we're talking about in western Texas, they'll cross the state line, coming in right about lunchtime. They may redevelop too, and as they redevelop, they'll strengthen as they press into central Arkansas once we head into the afternoon. But we're going to try to kick that system out before it does too much damage. But we still have that level 3, so right there in the medium threat for storms coming into Johnson County, Logan County, and Scott County once we push on that towards the east. Right now, temperatures, they've been crucial with our forecasting today. They really highlight who's been rainy, who's been dry, and who's had a little bit of sun. We've had a little bit more sun in Lafleur County, 77 degrees right now. You get a lot cooler. 9 degrees cooler once you head into Fort Smith, 68 on just about that 25-minute drive coming out of Poto. And then in northwest Arkansas, we're still in the low mid-50s in Benton County, 60s in Washington County. We've got some 60s in Johnson County too. Here's a little bit closer view, 55 in Rogers, 59 in Bentonville. It's been cool today, but that's where we picked up a lot of rain earlier today. We haven't had a chance to really recover. We've got that east-southeast wind coming into the river valley, trying to warm us up right now, 70 degrees in Sallisaw. Let's take a look at the next storm chances coming up this evening, anywhere from now until midnight. Most of our storms are firing up west. We could try to get a stray storm to pop up. We're here. We're watching them with you guys. But I think most of those storms that we were just looking at in Oklahoma don't come in until later tonight. They're going to bring a lot of heavy rain and wind for us. Lots of lightning, I think, too. Tomorrow, right there, smack dab in the middle of the day. Now, there could be something in the morning, but right there in the middle of the day, from 11 o'clock to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, more storms try to develop, and then they'll press east. This is another way to look at it. Everyone kind of looks at, some people are map people, some people are more graph people, some people just like words. So we're trying to hit this in several different ways. But just a low chance for a quick pop-up storm the rest of this evening, but then we skyrocket those storm chances and rain chances just after midnight as some of those storms come in from Oklahoma. We lower them a little bit tomorrow morning. Still not completely dry, though. We could still have some rain at times. But then as we get towards the middle of tomorrow, that's when that next line will come through. Let's talk about Futurecast. Overnight tonight, watching the storms come in from the west. These are whatever's left over from the storms we're just watching, those tornado-warned storms back towards the west. This is 11 o'clock, probably starting to come in towards Sequoia County and Lafleur County. Right there at midnight, we'll probably get into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. This is 2 o'clock, so that line is now coming in towards Huntsville, Ozark, and Clarksville. This will move east. The severe threat is mainly on that leading edge, that right there at the beginning of the storm where it's dry for a second at your house and the wind picks up, the rain just starts falling in big time, lightning, maybe some hail, but it's really that first 20 minutes that's the most severe. That's where you get those quick wrap-up tornadoes every once in a while. So we'll watch for any kind of rotations along the line, but it's the first 20 minutes that's most intense. After that, it's a lot of heavy rain, and we've got a good flash flooding threat. More rain coming in from the west. There could be some of these pockets of rain and wind just throughout the morning and into the afternoon. All right, this is lunchtime. I think this is when we start to finally get that front pressing eastbound. There could be a few more storms with this, and then we get to take a break. But with everything, I think our highest threats, really that wind coming in, flash flooding threat, lightning threats, they're all high. The tornado and hail threats are more intense back west towards Oklahoma while we still have a little bit of daylight. Once we lose the daylight, I think these storms will start to weaken a little bit over time. There's not so much anything coming in overnight with that, with that southerly wind as much for us. Sometimes you can get huge hail threats at night. We're not in one of those, I think, situations at this moment. More rain, though, on the way. We're trying to get maybe another inch to 2 inches overnight tonight and into tomorrow. We don't need any more water, but we got that that flood watch in effect till 1 o'clock. So water's already high. In fact, that's was our story with Micah today. We were trying to figure out, okay, what do people need to know about? And we've got a lot of waters that are high that are covering some roadways. That's likely to continue overnight tonight. That's why we've got the weather alert tonight and tomorrow morning. But then we dry out. I tell you what a huge difference is coming our way towards this weekend, back to 80s and sunshine. I mean, upper 80s. We'll probably hit some low 90s. I mean, it's going to be very, very warm. Let's go back to the main maps, and then we'll wrap up things. We're going to hop back up on our live stream once we get storms coming in, or right before they're coming in. So we'll watch those for you, but we've got a huge severe threat back west. They're going to march in, weakening as they do so. But back to the radar right now. We're still watching those storms. Lots of hail coming into central Oklahoma. Now it's moving away from Seminole. This is going to be headed east and north towards Henrietta, eventually crossing I-40. Okmulgee, we're in the path of these storms. So we'll watch those. But really, it's been the rotation on this storm near Seminole that's been the most intense. The tornado warning's now been dropped for back towards Purcell, north and or just south and east of Norman. So we'll keep an eye out. Still a strong thunderstorm. More storms are firing up. Notice how when you look towards central Oklahoma, you get these little flare-ups. Some of them survive, some of them don't. But some of them will continue to survive, press east, and then it's our turn to get storms later tonight. We'll watch them. We'll hop back on live streams when the weather starts to roar right here in western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. Make sure you keep it here, keep it advised. We'll keep everything up to date for you guys as you're watching storms come in from the west later tonight. Just 24 more hours to go, and then we're good. We'll see you guys soon.